25 Rules to Build a Business That Runs Without You. Hello, and welcome back to MT. Are you a business owner who feels more like a prisoner of your own company? This video is your key to freedom. We will give you a complete step-by-step plan to build a business that not only runs but grows without your constant effort. Let's begin. 1. The buyback principle. The first rule is the most important and the one that almost every entrepreneur gets wrong. The buyback principle states that your first priority should not be to grow your business. It should be to buy back your time. This sounds completely backward to the hustle culture that is so popular today. We are taught that to grow, we must do more, work longer hours, and push harder than anyone else. That thinking is a trap that leads directly to burnout. Imagine your business is a boat with you at the helm, and there are a dozen small holes in the bottom of the boat letting water in. Most entrepreneurs think the solution is to grab a bigger bucket and start bailing water faster and faster. The buyback principle tells you to stop bailing and start plugging the holes. Every time you hire someone, you should not be asking, how can this person help us grow? Instead, you should be asking, what task can this person take from me so I can get my time back? This is a fundamental shift in thinking. You are not hiring to add more work to the company, you are hiring to subtract work from your personal plate. The goal is to free yourself up from the low value, draining tasks so you can focus on the things that only you can do. Those are the things that will truly grow the business in the long run. Don't hire to grow, hire to buy back your time. 2. The 95-5 rule. You have probably heard of the 80-20 rule, which says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. For entrepreneurs, especially those who are feeling trapped, the rule is even more extreme. It is the 95-5 rule. This means that 95% of your company's real success, the big breakthroughs, and the real profit comes from a tiny 5% of the things you do. This is a shocking idea to truly accept. It means that if you work a 10-hour day, only about 30 minutes of that day actually contributed in a massive way to the future of your company. The other 9.5 hours were spent on tasks that were necessary, but did not create huge value. These are tasks like answering routine emails, managing small problems, doing administrative work, or even performing the core service of your business that someone else could now do. Your job is to identify that magic 5% of your work. What are the 2 or 3 activities that, when you do them, have an outsized impact on the business? Maybe it is inventing a new product, forming a major strategic partnership, or creating the marketing vision for the next year. These are the tasks that feel like you are steering the entire ship, not just swabbing the decks. Once you know what your 5% tasks are, your entire mission becomes a simple one. You must ruthlessly eliminate, delegate, or automate the other 95% so you can spend more and more of your time in that magic zone. This is how you create explosive growth without burning yourself out. 3. Identify your pain line. Every business owner has a pain line. The pain line is the point where the business has grown so much that it now causes you more pain than pleasure. Growth is exciting at first, but when you are the one doing everything, each new customer and each new employee just adds more weight to your shoulders. Eventually, you hit a wall, and that wall is your pain line. When you hit your pain line, one of 3 things will happen to your business. The first outcome is that you sell the company, not because you got a great offer, but because you are so desperate to escape the pain that you will take any way out. The second outcome is sabotage. This is a tricky one because you often don't realize you are doing it, and it happens subconsciously. You start making bad decisions that stop the company from growing because more growth means more pain, and you want to avoid that pain. You might fire a key employee for a small mistake, start a massive, unnecessary rebranding project that distracts everyone, or pick fights with your best clients. You are secretly trying to shrink the business back down to a size that feels manageable and less painful. The third outcome is that you stall. You decide to stop growing altogether. You stop marketing, you stop innovating, and you just try to maintain the status quo. But in business, standing still is the same as slowly moving backward and dying. Your competitors will pass you, and your customers will leave for better options. Recognizing that you are at or near your pain line is a critical wake-up call. It is a signal that you cannot continue operating the way you have been. You must change. and that change begins with letting go. 4. Master the buyback loop. So, how do you actually start plugging the holes in your boat and getting your time back? You do it by using a simple, continuous process called the buyback loop. The loop has 3 steps: audit, transfer, and fill. This is not a one-time event, it is a constant cycle that you should be running in your business forever. The first step is to audit. You need to take a hard, honest look at how you are spending your time. For 1 week, write down every single task you do. This will be an eye-opening experience, and you will be shocked at how much of your day is spent on low-value activities. The second step is to transfer. Once you have your list of tasks, you need to transfer them to someone else. This could mean delegating a task to an existing employee, hiring a new assistant or a freelancer, or using software to automate it. The goal is to get that task off your plate for good. The third step is to fill. This is the part that many people forget. You are not buying back your time just to sit around and do nothing. You must intentionally fill that newly freed time with your high-value, 5% tasks that you identified earlier. If you buy back 5 hours a week by hiring someone to handle customer service emails, you must use those 5 hours for activities like developing a new marketing strategy or meeting with potential major clients. The buyback loop is a virtuous cycle. The more you audit and transfer, the more time you can fill with high-value work, which grows the business and gives you more resources to buy back even more of your time. This is the engine that will power your journey to freedom. 5. Use the drip matrix. When you audit your time, you might be confused about which tasks to get rid of first. The drip matrix is a simple tool that makes this decision incredibly easy. DRIP stands for delegation, replacement, investment, and production. You can map every single one of your tasks onto this 4-quadrant matrix. The first quadrant is delegation. These tasks are low value and they drain your energy. These are things like scheduling appointments, booking travel, paying bills, and other administrative work. These tasks should be the very first things you get rid of, as quickly as possible, because they give you almost no return and they suck the life out of you. The second quadrant is replacement. These tasks are high value, but they still drain your energy. For many entrepreneurs, this quadrant includes things like sales or managing the team. You might be good at it and it makes the company money, but you no longer enjoy doing it, and it leaves you feeling exhausted. These tasks are harder to let go of because they are important, but you must find a way to replace yourself in these roles to truly be free. The third quadrant is investment. These tasks might not make you a lot of money right now, but they give you a ton of energy and have huge future potential. This could be things like networking with other leaders in your industry, writing a book, starting a podcast, or even taking time off to rest and recharge with your family. These activities fill your energy tank and often lead to massive, unexpected opportunities down the road. The fourth quadrant is production. This is the magic zone. These are the tasks that are high value, making you a lot of money, and they give you a huge amount of energy. This is your unique genius, the work you were born to do. For a chef, it might be creating new recipes. For a software developer, it might be designing the core architecture of a new app. The entire goal of the buyback principle is to spend as much of your time as possible in the production and investment quadrants. You do this by ruthlessly delegating the tasks in the delegation quadrant and systematically finding replacements for the tasks in the replacement quadrant. 6. Calculate your buyback rate. One of the biggest excuses entrepreneurs make for not delegating is, "I can't afford it." The buyback rate calculation will prove that you can't afford not to delegate. This simple piece of math will change the way you think about the value of your time forever. First, you need to figure out what your time is worth per hour. Take all the money your business pays you in a year, including your salary and any profits you take home, and divide it by 2,000. 2,000 is roughly the number of hours in a standard work year. For example, if your business generates $200,000 for you in a year, you divide that by 2,000. This means your time is worth $100 per hour. Now, here's the crucial part. Your buyback rate is 25% of your hourly rate. In our example, 25% of $100 is $25. So, your buyback rate is $25 per hour. This number is your new decision-making tool. From this moment forward, you should not be doing any task that you could pay someone else $25 an hour or less to do. If you are spending an hour doing data entry that you could pay a virtual assistant $15 an hour to do, you are not saving money. You are actually losing $85 because that was an hour you could have spent doing a $100 per hour task. This is not a feeling or an opinion. It is just simple math. Once you know your buyback rate, the decision to delegate becomes black and white. It is no longer a question of whether you can afford to hire help. It is a question of how much money you are losing every single day by not doing it. 7. Shatter the perfection myth. The other huge excuse that entrepreneurs use to avoid delegating is, no one can do it as well as I can. This is the perfection myth, and it is a trap built by your own ego. While it might be true that no one can do a task with exactly your level of nuance and experience, that is not the right way to look at the problem. You need to adopt a new mantra: 80% done by someone else is 100% awesome. Why is it 100% awesome? Because it means you are 100% free from that task. It means you did not have to spend your time and energy on it. It means that while that task was being done to an 80% level by someone else, you were free to work on a task in your 5% magic zone. Think about the real cost of your perfectionism. When you insist on doing everything yourself to a 100% standard, you become the bottleneck for the entire company. Nothing can move forward without your personal touch. So the entire business slows down to your personal capacity. This severely limits your growth and keeps you chained to your desk. Letting go of perfection is a skill. It requires trust and a willingness to accept that good enough is often much better than perfect, because good enough gets done, and it allows the business to scale beyond you. When you let someone else handle a task, you are not just buying back your time. You are buying freedom, scalability, and your own sanity. 8. Use the 10-80-10 rule. Even after you decide to let go of the perfection myth, it can still be scary to hand over a really important task. The 10-80-10 rule is a training wheel system that helps you delegate high-stakes tasks without losing control. It allows you to maintain quality while still buying back the majority of your time. Here is how it works. You are responsible for the first 10% of the task and the last 10%. Your team member is responsible for the big 80% chunk in the middle. Let's use an example of writing a crucial sales proposal for a major client. In the old way, you would have spent hours writing the entire thing yourself to make sure it was perfect. Using the 10-80-10 rule, your job is just to do the first 10%. This means you create a detailed outline, specify the key points to include, define the tone of voice, and provide any necessary research or data. You are setting the direction and providing the blueprint for success. Then, you hand it over to your team member, who does the 80% of the work. They take your blueprint and they do the heavy lifting of writing the full proposal, finding supporting images, and formatting the document. Once they have completed their 80%, they hand it back to you. Now, you do the final 10%. You review their work, make any final edits, add your personal touch, and give it the final stamp of approval before it goes to the client. With this system, the final product still meets your high standard, but you only had to do 20% of the actual work. You bought back 80% of your time on a critical, high-value task. This is the perfect way to start delegating important work that you are nervous about letting go of completely. 9. Conduct a time and energy audit. We mentioned auditing your time as the first step in the buyback loop, but a simple time audit is not enough. You must conduct a time and energy audit. This is because not all tasks are created equal. A task that takes you only 10 minutes can sometimes drain so much of your mental energy that it negatively impacts your performance for the rest of the day. For example, maybe dealing with a difficult customer or a complicated accounting issue only takes a few minutes, but it leaves you feeling frustrated, anxious, and unmotivated. That 10-minute task just cost you hours of productivity because your energy and focus are now shot. Protecting your energy is even more important than protecting your time. Here is how to do a proper time and energy audit. For one full week, get a simple notebook or a spreadsheet and divide your day into 15-minute blocks. In each block, write down the specific task you were working on. Be brutally honest. If you spent 30 minutes scrolling through social media, write it down. At the end of the week, you will have a detailed log of where all your time actually went. Now comes the energy part. Go through every single task on your list and highlight it in one of two colors, green or red. Highlight the task in green if it gave you energy. These are the tasks that make you feel excited, engaged, and in a state of flow. Highlight the task in red if it drained your energy. These are the tasks that you dread, that you procrastinate on, or that leave you feeling tired and annoyed. This simple color-coded document is your treasure map to freedom. Your mission is now clear. You must find a way to eliminate or delegate every single red task on that list, starting with the ones that drain the most energy, regardless of how much time they take. 10. Climb the replacement ladder. Once you are committed to hiring and delegating, the next question is, who should I hire first? The replacement ladder gives you a clear 5-step roadmap for hiring that is designed to free you up in the most logical and effective way. You must climb this ladder one rung at a time in the correct order. The first rung on the ladder is administration. This is the foundation. The first person you hire should be an assistant, either virtual or in person, to take over all of the low-value, energy-draining administrative tasks from your list. This includes email management, scheduling, data entry, and all the other red tasks in your delegation quadrant. This single hire will give you an immediate and massive boost in free time and energy. The second rung is delivery. This refers to the delivery of your core product or service. If you are a web designer, this is designing websites. If you own a bakery, this is baking the bread. This is often hard for entrepreneurs to let go of because it is the thing they are an expert at. But if you are the only person who can deliver the service, your business can never grow beyond the hours you can personally work. You must hire and train people to handle the core delivery so the business can serve more customers than just you alone. The third rung is marketing. Once you have help with administration and delivery, you need to build a consistent engine for attracting new customers. You need to hire someone to manage your marketing so that new leads are coming in every single day, not just when you have time to focus on it. The fourth rung is sales. With a steady stream of marketing leads, you now need someone to convert those leads into paying customers. Even if you are the best salesperson in the company, you must eventually replace yourself in this role so you are not the only one responsible for bringing in revenue. The fifth and final rung is leadership. This is the ultimate level of freedom. At this stage, you hire leaders to manage the other departments. You hire a head of delivery, a head of marketing, and a head of sales. These leaders run the day-to-day operations of the business, and you are now free to focus entirely on the high-level vision and strategy, or even start a new venture. Climbing this ladder systematically is the proven path to building a business that truly runs without you. 11. Test drive your hires. Hiring the wrong person is one of the most expensive mistakes a business owner can make. It costs you time, money, energy, and can have a toxic effect on the rest of your team. The traditional hiring process of reading resumes and conducting interviews is fundamentally broken. People can be great at interviews, but terrible at the actual job. You need to stop hiring people and start test driving them. You would never buy a car without taking it for a test drive, so why would you hire someone without seeing them in action first? Here is the simple 3-step process for test driving potential hires. First, give them a small paid project that is representative of the actual work they will be doing. If you are hiring a video editor, give them a short video to edit. If you are hiring a customer service representative, give them 5 real customer emails to respond to. Second, you must always pay them for this test project. This shows that you value their time, and it makes it a professional engagement, not just a favor. Third, and this is the most important part, give them very few instructions. Give them the goal of the project, but do not tell them exactly how to do it. This is a secret test of their resourcefulness and their ability to think independently. Are they able to figure things out on their own, or do they come back to you with a dozen questions for every little thing? Do they bring their own creativity and ideas to the project, or do they just do the bare minimum? You will learn more about a candidate from a 2-hour paid test project than you will from 5 rounds of interviews. Someone who excels at the test project is someone who will save you time and make your life easier. Someone who struggles is someone who will cost you time and create more work for you. 12. Clone yourself with how-to manuals. Once you hire someone, you need a way to train them effectively so they can perform tasks to your standard. You need to get the knowledge out of your head and into a system that anyone can follow. You need to create a how-to manual for every task you delegate. This might sound like a lot of work, but there is a simple 4-step shortcut to creating what is essentially a clone of yourself. Step 1 is to record. The next time you do a task that you want to delegate, simply record your screen and your voice using a tool like Loom. As you do the task, talk through what you are doing and, more importantly, why you are doing it. Explain your thought process and the little details that you do automatically without even thinking. To capture all the variations, you should record yourself doing the same task 3 separate times. Step 2 is to jot down the high-level steps. After you have the recordings, watch them back and create a simple, bulleted list of the main steps involved in the task. This gives your new hire a quick reference guide so they don't have to rewatch the whole video every time. Step 3 is to note the frequency. How often does this task need to be completed? Is it daily, weekly, monthly, or only as needed? This helps your team member understand the rhythm of the role. Step 4 is to create a checklist. The checklist is a list of the absolute must-do items that need to be completed every single time for the task to be considered done. This ensures that the critical parts are never missed. Now, here is the ultimate shortcut. You don't even have to create this manual yourself. Simply record the videos of yourself doing the task, and then assign your new hire the job of watching the videos and creating the how-to manual, including the steps and the checklist, as their first project. This not only gets the manual created for you, but it also serves as a perfect test of whether they truly understand the task. 13. Master the art of letting go. All the systems and processes in the world will not help you if you cannot overcome the single biggest obstacle to delegation, your own mind. The art of letting go is a psychological skill that you must develop. It is rooted in overcoming the 2 great fears of every entrepreneur, the fear of losing control and the fear of things going wrong. You have poured your heart and soul into building your business, so it feels natural to want to control every little detail. But that desire for control is the very thing that is keeping you trapped. You must understand that by letting go of control over small tasks, you are actually gaining a higher level of control over your life and the overall direction of your business. Letting go is not a one-time decision. It is a muscle that you need to train every day. Start small. Delegate a tiny, low-risk task. See that the world does not end. Then, delegate a slightly bigger task. With each successful delegation, your trust muscle will get stronger and your fear will get weaker. You must also reframe what it means for things to go wrong. A mistake made by a team member is not a disaster, it is a training opportunity. When a mistake happens, your job is not to jump in and fix it yourself. Your job is to ask, what can we learn from this? And what system can we create to make sure this mistake does not happen again? Every mistake that is handled this way makes your team stronger, smarter, and more independent. Mastering the art of letting go is the final step in transforming from a stressed-out operator into a truly free and empowered business owner. 14. Build a company brain. As your team grows, you will find that people are constantly coming to you with the same questions over and over again. Where do I find the company logo? What is our policy on returns? How do I log into this software? Each of these questions is a small interruption that pulls you out of deep work and drains your energy. The solution is to build a company brain, a single central place where all company knowledge and information is stored. This is also known as a single source of truth. This company brain can be built using a simple tool like Google Drive, Notion, or a dedicated company wiki software. It becomes the go-to place for any team member to find the answer to a question before they come to you. What goes into the company brain? Everything. It should contain all of your how-to manuals and training videos. It should have a section for brand assets like logos, color codes, and fonts. It should detail all of your company policies and procedures. It should have contact information for key vendors and a list of all the software you use with login information if appropriate. Building this company brain is an ongoing project. Every time someone asks you a question that is not already answered in the company brain, your new process is simple. You answer the question for them one last time, and then you immediately add that question and its answer to the company brain. You are training your team that the first step to solving a problem is not to ask the boss, it is to check the company brain. This single system will save you thousands of interruptions and countless hours over the course of a year. It is a critical piece of infrastructure for building a business that can operate independently of you. 15. Automate everything you can. Before you delegate a task to a person, you should always ask one simple question first. Can a robot do this instead? In today's world, the answer is often yes. Automation is like hiring a team of flawless, super fast employees who work 24 hours a day, never complain, and cost a fraction of a human employee. Many of the repetitive, rule-based tasks that are currently on your plate can and should be automated with software. You are not a technology expert, and you do not need to be. There are incredibly simple and user-friendly tools available that can automate huge parts of your business. Tools like Zapier can connect different apps you use so they talk to each other automatically. For example, you can create an automation so that every time someone fills out a contact form on your website, their information is automatically added to your email marketing list, and a task is created in your project management system for a salesperson to follow up. That is a 3-step process that now happens instantly, with zero human involvement. Other areas ripe for automation include scheduling, where a tool like Calendly can eliminate the endless back-and-forth emails of trying to find a meeting time. You can also automate social media posting, customer invoicing, and the sending of regular reports. Take your list of red tasks from your time and energy audit. Go through them one by one, and for each one, do a quick Google search for how to automate this task. You will be amazed at how many cheap and easy solutions exist. Every task you can automate is a permanent buyback of your time and energy. It is a task that you will never have to do again or pay a person to do ever again. 16. Implement the 1-3-1 rule. One of the most frustrating things for a leader is when team members come to them with problems instead of solutions. This is called upward delegation, where your employees are essentially delegating their problems back up to you, putting the monkey on your back. The 1-3-1 rule is a simple but incredibly powerful technique to stop this forever. It completely changes the dynamic from you being the company's chief problem solver to your team becoming a group of independent thinkers. Here is the rule. Any team member who comes to you with a problem must come prepared with 3 things. They must clearly define the one problem they are facing. They must propose 3 viable solutions to that problem. And they must make a recommendation for the one solution they think is best. Now, instead of an employee coming to you and saying, "The website is down, what do I do?" they are required to think through the issue first. They would have to come to you and say, "Here is the one problem, the website is down. Here are 3 potential solutions. I can call the hosting company, I can try to restore it from a backup, or I can contact our freelance developer. And here is my one recommendation. I think I should call the hosting company first, as that is the most likely cause." This simple framework forces your team to take ownership of problems. It trains them in critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And it transforms your role from being a reactive firefighter to a strategic coach. You are no longer providing the answers. You are helping them validate their own proposed solutions, which is a much higher leverage use of your time. 17. Define done. Have you ever asked a team member to do something only to be disappointed with the result, leaving you thinking, why can't anyone do things right? The problem is usually not your employee. The problem is that you did not clearly define what right looks like. To solve this, you must give a clear definition of done for every significant task you assign. A definition of done is a simple, clear statement that describes what the world looks like when the task is completed successfully to your standard. It leaves no room for ambiguity or misunderstanding. Let's use an example from the original book. If you just ask your assistant, "Can you please order a new whiteboard for my office?" you might end up with a tiny, cheap whiteboard with no markers. A proper definition of done for this task would be, "This task is done when a large, magnetic whiteboard is hanging securely on the wall in my office. There is a set of 4 new dry erase markers, red, green, blue, and black, and an eraser sitting in the tray below it." See the difference? The first request is vague. The second is crystal clear. Your employee now knows exactly what success looks like and can execute the task with confidence. You should use a definition of done for everything. For a marketing report, it might be, This is done when a one-page report is in my inbox showing our website traffic, new leads, and cost per lead for the last month. For preparing for a client meeting, it could be, this is done when a document is created with the client's history, the meeting agenda, and a list of our key talking points. By taking an extra 30 seconds to provide a clear definition of done, you will save yourself hours of frustration and rework down the line. You will finally get the results you want, because you have clearly defined what you want. 18. Lead with questions, not answers. As the founder, you are used to having all the answers. This is a great skill to have in the beginning, but it becomes a major liability as your company grows. If you are the only one with the answers, you become the single biggest bottleneck in your own business. To break this cycle, you must shift from being a leader who gives answers to a leader who asks questions. When a team member comes to you with a question like, "What should I do about this client complaint?" your old instinct would be to immediately tell them what to do. Your new instinct should be to ask a question back. You should respond with something like, "That is a great question. What do you think we should do?" Or, "What are a few options we could consider here?" This simple shift has a profound impact on your team. At first, they might be a little uncomfortable. They are used to you just giving them the answer. But over time, it forces them to think for themselves. It builds their confidence and their problem-solving muscles. They start to realize that you trust them to come up with good ideas. Leading with questions also helps you make better decisions. Your team members are often closer to the problem than you are, and they may have insights and ideas that you would have never considered. By asking for their input, you are tapping into the collective intelligence of your entire team. Your job as a leader is not to be the smartest person in the room who has all the answers. Your job is to build a team of smart people and create an environment where they feel empowered to find the answers themselves. 19. Shift from transactional to transformational leadership. There are two fundamental ways to lead a team, transactionally and transformationally. Transactional leadership is about managing tasks. You tell people what to do, and you manage them to make sure they do it. This style is focused on the how. It often leads to micromanagement and a team that just follows orders without thinking. Transformational leadership is about leading people to an outcome. You tell people what needs to be achieved, and you give them the freedom and trust to figure out the best way to get there. This style is focused on the what and the why. Here is a simple example to illustrate the difference. A transactional leader would tell their salesperson, "You need to make 20 more sales calls today." This is an instruction about an activity. A transformational leader would say, "We need to hit our sales target of $20,000 by the end of the month. I trust you to figure out the best way to make that happen." This is an instruction about a result. The second approach is far more powerful. When you give people ownership of the outcome, they become more engaged, more creative, and more motivated. They are not just completing a task, they are contributing to a meaningful goal. They will start to ask themselves questions like, "Is making more calls really the best way to hit this target? Or could I focus on closing our biggest leads instead?" This is the kind of thinking you want from your team. When you stop telling people how to do their jobs and instead inspire them with a clear vision of what needs to be accomplished, you unleash their full potential. They stop just renting you their skills and start giving you their full energy and creativity. 20. Plan your perfect week. If you do not have a plan for your time, someone else will have one for you. Your inbox, your employees, and your customers will dictate your priorities, leaving you in a constant state of reactive firefighting. The only way to break this cycle is to become proactive and design your perfect week in advance. This is not about creating a rigid, minute-by-minute schedule. It is about creating a template for your week that is built around your own energy levels and priorities. First, you need to plan around your energy. Are you a morning person with high focus and creativity when you wake up? Then you should block out your mornings for your most important deep work, your 5% tasks, and protect that time fiercely. If you are better in the afternoons, then schedule your deep work for that time. The key is to match your most important tasks with your peak energy levels. Second, you need to use task batching. Context switching, or jumping between different types of tasks, is a huge killer of productivity. Instead of answering emails here and there throughout the day, batch them all together and process them in 1 or 2 dedicated time blocks. Batch all of your meetings together on 1 or 2 days of the week, leaving the other days free for uninterrupted focus. Third, you must learn to say no. When you have designed your perfect week, you have a clear picture of what is important. This makes it much easier to say no to requests and opportunities that do not align with your plan. Saying no to the unimportant things allows you to say yes to the things that truly matter, like your high-value work, your health, and your family. Your calendar is not just a to-do list. It is a statement of your priorities. 21. Schedule personal time first. This is a radical idea for most entrepreneurs, but it is one of the most important rules for building a sustainable and fulfilling life. When you plan your perfect week, you must schedule your personal time first. Before you put a single work meeting or task on your calendar, you must block out the non-negotiable time for your health, your family, and your personal rejuvenation. This is a concept often described using the analogy of a jar and rocks. Your life is the jar, and you have big rocks, small pebbles, and sand to fill it with. The big rocks are the most important things: your health, your family, your relationships. The pebbles are your important work projects. The sand is all the little trivial stuff. If you fill the jar with sand and pebbles first, you will not have any room for the big rocks. But if you put the big rocks in first, the pebbles and sand can fill in the space around them. Your personal well-being and your family are your big rocks. So before the quarter begins, put your vacation on the calendar. Every weekend, block out time for your kids' soccer games or date night with your partner. Every single week, schedule your workouts, your time for hobbies, or simply time to do nothing at all. This does two powerful things. First, it ensures that your business serves your life, not the other way around, which is the entire point of this journey. Second, it creates a powerful container for your work. When you know you only have a certain number of hours to get your work done, you become much more focused and ruthless about prioritizing what is truly important. You will stop wasting time on the 95% because you know you have to leave the office at 5 to be home for dinner. 22. Know your key numbers cold. Building a business that runs without you does not mean building a business that you are ignorant about. Freedom and ignorance are two very different things. You need to be able to check the pulse of your business quickly and easily, without getting bogged down in the day-to-day details. The way you do this is by creating a simple dashboard with your 3 to 5 most important numbers. These are your key performance indicators, or KPIs. These are the handful of metrics that give you an 80% understanding of the health of your business in just a few minutes. Every business will have slightly different key numbers, but they usually revolve around the core areas of customers, revenue, and profit. For a software company, it might be new trial signups, monthly recurring revenue, and customer churn rate. For an e-commerce store, it might be website visitors, conversion rate, and average order value. For a service business, it could be number of new leads, sales closing rate, and net profit margin. The key is to choose only a few vital numbers. You are not trying to track everything, you are trying to track the few things that matter most. Once you have identified your key numbers, you need to have a system for them to be reported to you, ideally automatically on a regular basis, like every Monday morning. You should be able to look at this simple one-page dashboard and know instantly if things are on track or if there is a problem that needs your attention. This dashboard is your control panel. It allows you to stay in the pilot's seat, guiding the overall direction of the business without having to be down in the engine room dealing with the mechanics. 23. Celebrate smart failures. If you want to build a team that can truly run the business without you, you must create a culture where it is safe to fail. If your team members are terrified of making a mistake, they will never take risks, they will never innovate, and they will never learn to think for themselves. They will always wait for you to make the decision, because that is the only safe option. You need to distinguish between a sloppy mistake and a smart failure. A sloppy mistake is caused by carelessness or a lack of following the process, and that should be addressed with more training. A smart failure, on the other hand, is a well-thought-out experiment or a calculated risk that just did not work out as planned. Smart failures are the building blocks of innovation and growth. When a smart failure happens, you should not punish the person responsible. You should celebrate the attempt. You should gather the team and ask questions like, what was our hypothesis? What did we do? What was the result? And what did we learn from this? This process turns every failure into a valuable lesson that makes the entire organization smarter. It sends a powerful message to your team that you value learning and initiative more than you value playing it safe. When people are not afraid to fail, they are free to bring their best ideas to the table. They will test new marketing campaigns, try new sales scripts, and find new ways to improve your products and services, all without you having to tell them to. A culture that embraces smart failures is a culture that can grow, adapt, and thrive long after you have stepped away from the daily operations. 24. Create a 10 times vision. All of this work of buying back your time is pointless if you don't know what you are buying it back for. You need a clear, compelling, and exciting vision for the future that pulls you forward. This can't be a small, incremental vision. You need to create a 10 times vision for your life and business 10 years from now. This exercise forces you to think beyond your current limitations and imagine what is truly possible. Your 10 times vision should cover 4 key areas. The first area is your team. 10 years from now, who is on your leadership team? What kind of culture have you built? Who are the brilliant people who are running the day-to-day of the company so you don't have to? The second area is your one business. Notice the word one. Instead of trying to do many things, what is the one business that you have become truly world-class at? What are you known for? The third area is your empire. Once you have mastered that one business and it runs without you, what does your larger empire look like? Are you an investor in other companies? Have you started a foundation? Do you have a portfolio of different projects that are all aligned with your core skills from your production quadrant? The fourth and most important area is your lifestyle. 10 years from now, what does your ideal day, week, and year look like? Where are you living? How much time are you spending with your family? What hobbies are you pursuing? Be incredibly detailed and vivid in this vision. The purpose of building a self-running business is to create a magnificent life. This 10 times vision is your North Star. It is the reason you are doing all of this hard work of letting go and delegating. 25. Reverse engineer your vision. A big vision is inspiring, but it can also feel overwhelming and distant. The final rule is to make that vision actionable by reverse engineering it back to today. You need to connect your 10-year dream to what you need to do this week. This process breaks the massive goal down into small, manageable steps. Start with your 10-year vision. Then ask yourself, to be there in 10 years, where do I need to be in 3 years? This 3-year goal is your first major milestone. It might be something like, have a full leadership team in place and be working only 10 hours a week in the business. Now, take that 3-year goal and ask, to be there in 3 years, where do I need to be in 1 year? This 1-year objective becomes much more concrete. It could be, hire a general manager and have the entire delivery department running without my involvement. Next, take that 1-year objective and ask, to achieve that in a year, what must I accomplish in the next 90 days, this quarter? Now you have a clear short-term priority. For example, my priority for this quarter is to create all the how-to manuals for the delivery department and to hire my first delivery team member. Finally, you take that 90-day priority and ask, what do I need to do this week to make progress on that? And just like that, you have connected your grand 10-year vision of freedom to a specific, actionable to-do list for this week. This is how you turn a dream into a plan. You are no longer just hoping for a better future, you are systematically and intentionally building it. One step, one day, and one quarter at a time. This is the path. It is not easy, but it is simple, and it is the proven way to build a business and a life that you truly love. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this guide helpful, please consider subscribing for more videos designed to help you build a better business and a better life.